So one of my epiphanies in this whole idea that people live in different sensory worlds comes from the work of Dr. Linda Bartoshuk, who at the time was a researcher at Yale University School of Medicine. And she was doing genetic work around a compound called PROP, P-R-O-P. And it's been known for 100 years that some people get this horrible, horrible reaction to it. And in the language of Dr. Bartoshuk's work, they call this a super taster. All right. Now, we're refining this whole thing and making it much more holistic around sensory sensitivity. But I've got some what's called urea that's very similar to PROP, and it's basically impregnated on strips of paper. So Stephen, why don't you come here? You're going to be my first tester of this. And Stephen, pretty much we know, is what we call a tolerant taster. He's able to tolerate intense flavors and tannin and so on. I'm going to give him a little piece of this. All right, so just wet your tongue a little bit with that. And how does that go?
I can taste something, but nothing particularly strong.
And it kind of builds up a little bit over time and it becomes more irritating?
Yeah.
All right. Now, what people have to understand is this kind of diversity of reaction that I'm going to show you in just a minute occurs with wine, with food, when you combine wine and food, and it has a huge impact for children and how people grow up, and literally the different behavioral traits and personality traits people grow up with. And here's my lovely wife, Kate. Come on over here, Kate. And we're going to do the same thing.
What do we have here?
This is urea, similar to PROP. Take this. And then wet your tongue with that. I already know what's going to happen with this. Okay, so how is that?
Horrifying.
And it's just, this
Can I
is
have the salt?
physiological differences. We'll talk about Vignon later and what it does. But if you want to get rid of that bitter taste, you'll use a little bit of salt and acidity. So same phenomenon with tequila, and actually it'll get rid of that. And it's why the hypersensitive kids and grown-ups are the ones dumping their salt on food. They're trying to minimize bitterness and suppress that most people are oblivious to and can't even imagine how they're getting those sensations that they're getting. Okay, I found a random teenager who actually I know is a hypersensitive taster from birth. His mother had extreme morning sickness. He had behavior at the table that was completely unacceptable, and that was ketchup on everything, and he loved salt. He loved salt so much that he would put it in his chocolate milk.
I still don't remember doing that.
He still doesn't remember. That's okay. This is PROP. This is something that some people put this on their tongue. They get no reaction whatsoever. Try this. Put that on your tongue and tell me how it tastes. Take it out. How is that?
It was bitter and tasted a little sour.
Terrific. Now, here's what I want to point out with this. There's a phenomenon called a super taster. And the woman, Dr. Linda Bartoshuk at Yale University, who did significant genetic research about who could not taste, or what she called super taste this. This is just a single compound. Landon is off the charts, a very, very hypersensitive taster, but he only marginally recognizes the PROP. His mother, who is also a hypersensitive taster, this is disgusting and horrible and bitter. And I do know of one person who's an off-the-chart hypersensitive taster who cannot even register this. So don't confuse that if you're a non-taster, taster, or super taster of PROP, that means that you are absolutely a hypersensitive taster. We're taking a much more holistic approach to this so that we could really look at all the consequences of vegetables, of flavors and tastes, and behaviors at the table with salt and ketchup and so on, and help personalize the experience for the kids so that they can grow up. Landon will try just about anything in the world now, even though he finds an awful lot of things bitter and very unpleasant, but we've just given him permission to eject it carefully and quietly, but he's very adventurous in spite of being the kind of kid that could have grown up with really bad attitudes and a negative association to trying new foods.
And does taste change over time though? Because some children, when they're young,
Yes.
can't abide certain foods, and then when
Yeah.
they're adult, they can. Have you found that you're more tolerant now to tasting different foods?
Yeah, definitely like seafood, crab, fish, lobster. I used to, when I was really little, I used to like crab, but then and fish, and then I started to not like it. But now I like crab and fish. So
And can you eat broccoli without any salt or ketchup or anything like that?
I like it a lot less, but yeah, I can still eat it.
Right.
And the funny thing is, the change that's going on isn't in his taste buds. It's going on psychologically. So he's been, if you will, cultivated to have permission to have the foods he wants the way he wants them. And over time, he's now got more and more positive experiences. He's got the capability to associate green vegetables and health and working out, which he's very dedicated to. And so when our quote-unquote our tastes change, it's actually a neurological function. It's not in our taste buds. And so it's positive associations. If we're grooming kids and kind of grooving in those negative associations into punishment, it'll actually elicit less positive behavior over time.